Hi everybody, how's it going? I'm Chance. Here, first episode with Coffee with a Cop. This is Chief Wilmot. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Well. Yeah. So
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a tough question. How do you like your coffee?
Black.
Black.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I suppose if it's like after lunch, sometimes I'll have an iced coffee with cream and sugar in it. But generally speaking, hot coffee, black only.
Very good.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I take it with a little cream, a little honey. I like honey.
Really?
Yeah.
I put honey in tea, but not in coffee.
I used to drink a lot of tea. Started drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Just transferred that over. Try not to drink too much sugar.
How long have you been drinking coffee?
Oof, maybe a couple of years.
Yeah, it goes away. Yeah, so when I started drinking coffee, it was cream and sugar.
Yeah.
You know, heavy on the cream, heavy on the sugar, light on the coffee.
Okay.
And then I got rid of the sugar, and then it became, just cream, and then, a few years into it, it's black coffee only.
Completely black.
Yeah, I think that's part of being a cop too, though.
Oh yeah.
Just because there's, the access to cream and sugar sometimes is just not there. So it's just, I got used to drinking sludge.
Yeah, just gotta drink it. If it's
send
there,
right?
you gotta drink it.
That's
right?
it. That's it.
Oh, caffeination.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, how long have you been a police officer?
It's funny you ask. Yesterday I hit my 21st anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah, that's awesome.
So if my police career was a human, I could have a beer yesterday.
You got a beer yesterday.
That's
there
right.
You go. All
that's
right. Cool. Always with Claremont or?
No, I started in a small town. So that's my full-time career. I was a part-time police officer for a few months before that. But I started in a small town just north of Plymouth, the town of Campton.
Okay.
So if anybody's ever been to Waterville Valley, you have to drive right through Campton to get to Waterville.
Right.
I was there for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and then I came here.
Okay, so you've been here for
since 2005.
About 18-ish then.
Yeah.
So
well,
19.
I came here in November of 2005, and I stayed here until March of 2020, and then I went to Newport to be the police chief, and I was there from March of 20 until July of 22, and then back here July of 22 until present.
Awesome.
Hopefully until the ride is over.
There you go.
And I get my quarterback.
Are you from here?
I am. Yeah. Stevens High School graduate. I graduated in 2000.
Oh, beautiful.
So, yep.
Yeah, so you came home.
I did.
You came home.
Yeah, my dad was a career cop in Claremont. Started here in 1980. He retired here in 2005, in the summer of 2005, and I started working here right after he retired.
Oh, okay, nice. So you guys didn't work together then?
No. Well, not in a full-time capacity.
Right.
He actually works for me in a part-time capacity now. He does grants and accreditation and that kind of thing. So we have worked together since I have started working here in 2005, but not we never full-time together.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, beautiful. What interested you into becoming a cop? Was it because of your father, or?
Yeah, I mean, I probably, it's like that whole osmosis thing,
Yeah.
like it just sort of rubs off on you. But
Right.
I was totally against the idea for a while. I just wanted to like get in trouble and
Sure.
not do anything other than be a cop. But my goal, my life dream had been to go into the military, and then after getting out of the military, maybe go to law school or whatever. And even that kind of changed in college a little bit, but I still had wanted to go to law school and be a lawyer and not a cop. But my senior year of college, I was running out of money big time. I was super broke, super poor. And I was working, doing an internship at a prosecutor's office, sort of in furtherance of that goal to go to law school. And one of the police chiefs that she prosecuted for came in and literally just said, "Hey, do you want a job as a cop?" And I was like, "Well, I'm poor. I'm eating ramen noodles and paying for everything on a credit card, and like I'm just having a hard time like making ends meet." And so I took the job, and here we are, 21 years later.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like I kind of saw that as a possibility anyway. I was a criminal justice major, so it's not like that far removed,
Yeah.
But it wasn't certainly the first plan.
Yeah. What do you enjoy about being a police officer?
It's different. Every day is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's there are times where it's like super chaotic and crazy and busy, and like you don't have a chance to catch your breath or sit down or anything like that. But then the majority of the time, it's actually kind of boring.
Right.
But you sort of get to create your own destiny, right? Like if you come to work one day, you may decide that you want to go out and stop cars and focus on traffic enforcement. Some days you may want to focus on investigations that you may have, or write reports, or do follow-ups. You know, here we are a busy community,
Right.
so patrol officers tend to be beholden to the radio a little bit more than like in the smaller community where I started my career. But it varies. Every single day varies. And I would be remiss not to say that, like, I think the best times that I've ever had in this career is when you're able to do something and like see the impact of what you did, right? And it obviously positive, right? So if say somebody's a crime victim and they come to the police for help because, you know, they've just been victimized in one way or another, if you're able to work that through to the end and see, you know, make an arrest and see the defendant go through the court process and get convicted and sort of work with the victim through the whole thing, there's really nothing better than taking something from, you know, little tiny pieces all the way to a successful conclusion, and you kind of build it along the way.
Yeah.
I'm not really good like making anything at all, like in terms of, you know, mechanically. I'm terrible at like, just ask anybody that I hang out with outside of work. If somebody asked me to build something or fix something, it would probably come out more broken than it went in. But like, I'm pretty good about like putting things together, particularly with words and like in terms of a criminal case and in my field, like I feel like I'm decent at that. Not so much fixing anything. No.
That's all right.
Like if you asked me to cut hair, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd come out with like bone chunks coming off their head.
Bone chunks.
Yeah,
well, I
yeah.
think you'd be all right.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
I could probably show you a
I don't
little
know.
something. You'd be all right. You
I
know.
don't know.
It's a little problem solving. It's all problem solving. Yeah. Well, outside of work, what is it that you enjoy doing?
So I'm a pretty active person generally. So anybody that watches this is probably going to roll their eyes as soon as I tell you this right out of the gate. But I'm a runner, so I've run 14 marathons at this point. I've run today's Patriots Day, so I've run the Boston Marathon 4 times. So I like to compete. I like to kind of throw down and see what I can get out of my body.
Right.
I like to read. I like to be outside. That kind of stuff.
It's getting nice out, so
I know.
Time for that.
Yeah, and then I like to travel. I like to go to different places in the country, different places in the world.
Yeah.
I think that traveling is good for your brain. I think it makes you a wiser person.
Certainly.
I think when you're kind of confined to one spot, you start to develop a bias that the whole world is sort of in that same vein. And for anybody that's traveled, that's not true, right?
Yeah, it's always different.
Everywhere's different. Everywhere you go is different. There's different people, different things to offer. So I really, 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 really like to travel. And I loathe wintertime.
Oh, you don't like that?
Oh, I hate it. Yeah, I curse my parents for having me here and raising me in this horrific climate. And as soon as I'm done with this job and able to leave, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Heading
Florida,
south. Okay,
Florida,
straight to Florida.
Yeah.
No other
I'm gonna
options.
I'm gonna be like an elderly person in my 40s, I think.
You're gonna hit the beach. Is that's where you're going?
Yeah, beach, man. Anything. I mean, I like the beach, but I just anything other than snow, cold. I hate it. Hate it.
No
just
more.
not my thing.
No more snow.
Do you like snow?
I don't mind it. I'm from California. I've only had to deal with it for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So this was my 3rd winter here.
Yeah, it grades on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
After 43 of them, man, it's like it just pounds you down. You know what I mean?
I can
it
imagine
just pounds
that.
you down.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So we'll see. The plan is to stick around here for a while. Business in Claremont.
Yeah,
so don't plan on picking up.
We like the
soon.
fact that you opened a business here. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, the community's been great to me, so it's awesome. It's one of those nice things. But yeah, where have you traveled? Like, have you hit all 50 states?
Oh boy, no, I haven't. I just recently, no. I got a lot of those flyover states I've never hit, unless you want to talk about like stopping at airports, but I don't count that.
Yeah, no, that doesn't count.
No.
Yeah, you gotta go enter a town, I feel like. And then you've been there.
So I just went to the Pacific Northwest for the first time 1.5 years ago. So I went to Seattle for a conference. I've been to California, but I don't know when you're in Sacramento if you consider LA to be California, but
I mean, we try not to claim them, but we
yeah,
have to.
right,
You
right,
know, we
right.
have to.
So I've been to LA, I've been to Colorado, I've been to Texas, I've been to Alabama, Florida a zillion times. I went in 2019. I was at the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia for 3 months. So I spent a lot of time down there. Been to Georgia, the Carolinas, you know, everything on the Eastern Seaboard, of course, and then a little bit in the Midwest, Ohio, that kind of stuff. But I got a lot of places still left to go on the thing. And then I've traveled to Europe. When I was in high school, I went to Europe.
Okay.
So and then
Where'd you go in Europe?
Mexico, Canada, Switzerland, France.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Those are cool places.
Yeah.
I've never been. But
You haven't?
No, I've heard they're beautiful though. And
Have you been to Europe?
I'd like to go to Europe.
Yeah.
I want to go to Austria and Germany.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's where my family's from.
Okay. What's your like bucket list? Like if you could go anywhere, where would you go?
In the world?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I think my number one place that I would want to go is Vienna.
Okay.
Because I've heard it's beautiful there.
I've heard the same.
My grandfather was born outside of Vienna. It was about an hour outside of Vienna. And that's where he grew up before he ended up coming to the States during World War II, right before World War II. And then, I don't know, Eastern Europe's got beautiful architecture. So I'd like to see some of that.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to go to Israel.
Really?
Yeah.
There's
think I would
so
like to go to
much
Israel.
history there.
There's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Like all the history.
Yeah.
That's
like
like
kind of-
everything
I like-
is like
I do
there.
like history. So I mean, if people who come in, I'm always bothering them with questions like
You
that.
like history?
Yeah.
Oh,
enjoy
see, we're
history.
connected on that.
Yeah.
Like what's your favorite period of time in history? I know that we've kind of switched roles here. I'm now asking
Yeah.
the interviewer the questions, but
That's
you
a hard question.
you hit a love spot for
Yeah,
me because
that's
I'm a
that's
history
hard
fan.
question because I mean, one of the questions that I ask people a lot is, if I could drop you in a time period and a place, where would you go? And I think that's a really hard question to answer because certain time periods I would want to go to different places and see different things. So my favorite, if I was going to be dropped in a place, current day, it would probably be, I'd probably go definitely like Middle East, somewhere in there, because there's so much melting and creation and expansion that comes out of that area. I think I would want to see that.
Yep. So where would you go at a period of time? If time travel.
At a time
So if
period.
time travel were possible, where would you go? Forward or backward is allowed.
I'd probably go backward.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know. There's interesting time periods. If I had to pick one right now, I think I would probably go. I would want to see what barbers did in like the 1200s. I would want to see
There were barbers in the 1200s?
Yeah, but there's been barbers around for a long time. The origination of the barbering tradition was Egyptians, so they used to shave their heads. So they would shave the kings and the pharaohs.
Nice.
Yeah, that would be cool too.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah,
and staying like loyal to your craft.
Well, I think that's one thing that really interests me about history is we have a lot of information about the upper class and sort of some information. There's information about the lower class, but I would want to see like on a day-to-day basis, like what do the people do?
Yeah, sure.
Just go out and watch what the people do. I think that would be interesting.
Don't you think it'd be kind of neat if you could go back, if you're going to go to Egypt, like to watch them build those pyramids?
Yeah.
When you want to talk about engineering.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that would be interesting because that is always the question. You know, we have our theories. Like we know we can float the rocks up the Nile. And
sure.
Roll them on
up
rollers.
the Nile too, right? Because it goes south to north, right?
South to north.
Yeah.
You drop them and then go up, and then the most recent theory that I've heard is hydraulic, like water hydraulics.
Yeah.
And then whoever the engineer did, that he forgot to pass it on, I guess. So I don't know. We'll see. Where would you get dropped?
Oh boy, I think if I had to pick a place to as a like a neutral third party observer, I'd probably pick like, boy, I would say like the time of Jesus. I think that would be a pretty cool time. Like obviously just so much happening in the world that then shapes the world for, millennia beyond. I think that would be pretty cool. But historically, like I'm super interested in U.S. history. So like if I could go back to the time of the Revolution, yesterday was the anniversary of the shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be kind of neat to see, how that whole thing worked during the Revolution, and our forefathers and the Declaration of Independence and the Constitutional Congress,
to
and
be in that room.
Yeah, it
listening.
would be. Yeah. So I think if I could pick something a little bit more modern, I'd probably pick the American Revolution. But anytime in U.S. history, I'd probably pick the time of Jesus, just because it's like it has such an impact on like everything today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we date from there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, certainly we date from there, right? Our modern calendar, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. What's your favorite genre of history, like war history?
Generally speaking, I like reading war history, but I also I'm currently started a book called The Presidents of War. So I really like reading about U.S. presidents too. So this is specifically about the presidents who sort of endured and were in office during times of war.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, well, I was going to say not necessarily conflict, but LBJ's in there, and obviously the Vietnam War was not a declared war, but talking about like the Revolution, the War of 1812, the Civil War. So I really like reading about war history.
Yeah.
I'm super interested too in sort of modern military history where it relates to like Afghanistan and Iraq, and I've read a lot of really good books about different soldiers and battles over the last 25 years. So
certainly.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, when I was younger, I read a lot of war history.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been doing more almost ancient history, but like Jesus time period history. So I've been doing a lot of that reading.
What's your favorite type of book to read?
My favorite type of book to read. I've actually dabbled in different ones. So I've read a couple of like sci-fi stuff. I've been reading Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we do my brothers and I we read a lot of the Bible. So we read the Bible and then supporting or contrasting theological books. So.
One of my favorite college classes I took was literature of the Bible.
Really?
So basically the same idea, right? You're reading parts of the Bible and you're speaking about it in terms of its literature. So that was very, very interesting class.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to break it down for sure. Yeah. My brothers we've gotten into theology a lot lately, so
that's cool.
Been reading a little bit of that. Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, it's been good.
Do you have a favorite U.S. president? without touching the third rail, right? Like we don't want to get too far into politics.
Yeah, that's funny. My favorite U.S. president is Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me why. The interstate system?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I think, I appreciated him as a general. Yeah. So I read about him as a general.
Of course, yeah.
And then when I was in school, I did my report on him because I thought he was interesting. But yeah, the interstates are pretty cool. So if you're doing on an interstate, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Republican president, but acted policy-wise, he had a lot of things that would be considered more liberal in today's day and age.
Yeah, certainly. So, who's your favorite president?
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln?
Yeah, hands down.
All the way?
All the way, yeah.
Because he was wrestling? Or?
No, because he saved the Union, saved the Union, man. He saved the Union. I mean, like, we were this close to being the Confederate States of America. He saved America. But I read a book a few years ago, and it took me forever to finish it. It's called Team of Rivals. So it's about Abe Lincoln and his cabinet. And it's, obviously starts from before he gets elected through his assassination. And it does like this deep dive into his whole cabinet, and but also a super deep dive into him. And he's just such an amazing human being, right? Like, I mean, he was so forgiving and forbearing, like, to his fellow man, and here he is, like, in one of the worst wars that America's ever been confronted with,
right.
And on the brink of losing that war over and over and over, and he just consistently always like gave people like another chance and another chance and another chance, and sort of kind of local history, but Sam in Portland Chase, who grew up in a house on Route 12A in Cornish, went to Dartmouth College, right?
Yeah.
He was the Secretary of the Treasury during Lincoln's term, and he repeatedly submitted a letter of resignation. He didn't want to work for him anymore, and Lincoln, because he felt like he wasn't being of service to him, and his cabinet members betrayed him, like out and out betrayed him at times, and went behind his back and did all kinds of silly stuff that they shouldn't have done, that was disloyal, and he just kept giving him another chance. And he, like with Chase, he didn't accept his resignation over and over and over again, and because he knew, like, at the end of the day, like, the country was bigger than his ego.
Right.
And I think that's the thing. Like, he was just so incredibly humble at the end of the day. And obviously I've got work to do, but like, if all of us could take a page out of that humility book, I just think that we'd live in a better world.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think he was awesome. And he also, like, when he talks about the Gettysburg Address, or the Emancipation Proclamation, I think it was specifically the Emancipation Proclamation, when he wrote that, he like had been shaking hands for a very long time, and so his hand was like super shaky.
Really?
Yeah. But he knew that when he signed that document, it had to be completely firm, because it was going to stand the test of time, right? So he waited until, like, he calmed down before he signed the document, because, like, he didn't want this document to go in perpetuity with, like, a shaky signature.
Right. You don't want it.
So, like, he thought very, very strategically, very long term, and, like, what's the impact going to be on this, like, a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years from now? So
yeah, that's one of those things you have to think about as president.
Right. Yeah. Fortunately, I'll never have to think like that.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that. But
so yeah, he's my favorite. I mean, sort of in my own lifetime, I would say, and I will say this, not necessarily from a policy standpoint, because I think as time goes on, I think when you look back at political figures and stuff, you can start to see, like, errors in their way, because we know more, right? We know more today than we knew 40 years ago.
Right.
But Ronald Reagan, I love Ronald Reagan. I just think he sounds presidential. He's just, when I hear him, I feel like, I'm an American. I just feel like there's a bald eagle flying over my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Ronald Reagan
huge.
fan.
That's huge. Yeah, definitely. I liked Andrew Jackson too.
He definitely kind of a savage.
Yeah. I always tell people about the story when somebody walked up to assassinate him and it misfired, and they hit him over the head with his cane.
Yeah, right.
That's like, I don't know. That's a really cool story to me.
I think it's kind of interesting when we start talking about this kind of stuff, or we're talking about like long-term history, right? You're talking about, like, biblical history, or, like, going way, way back. Like, if you think about the world that we live in today, man, it's so much better than it ever was. I mean, they were savages back then. I mean, they slaughtered one another. I mean, they're like assassinations, and, like, it's just, we do live in a safer, better world today than one that has existed at any time in human history.
Yeah,
you know what I
certainly,
mean?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that is. We've definitely made strides forward.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
I think so.
I think it's important with those figureheads, especially, like, in the community. I feel like one of the most important things is to know the people in your community, and
Without a doubt,
the people that are leading your community. That's an important drive of mine. So when I talk
without a
people,
doubt, yeah. Like, you can, like, let's just take a police officer, for example, right?
Mhm.
Like, and we'll take a police chief, right? I could know every single law inside and out, which I don't, but I could know, like, all of our policies inside and out. I could know our budget to the dollar, to the penny, every line inside and out. But at the end of the day, that's not what makes you effective. What makes you effective is, like, being able to be a human being, right?
Oh, yeah.
And connect with people and know where you need to turn when you need something, or know who to turn to and how to make things happen. To me, that's far more important than, like, the X's and O's. It's the kind of the soft skills that they call them, right?
Right.
It's like, being a human, being able to talk to anybody, being able to, like, leverage situations for whatever you need them to do, and you can only do that if, like, you're kind and likable.
Yeah.
And you know people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's right. Yeah.
And the rest of that stuff is trainable.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I don't think you can train like well, you probably can train people skills, but
It's much harder.
yeah, and don't you think there's probably a ceiling on that?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, from my hiring perspective, one thing that I look for in people is how well they interact with other people.
Yeah.
Right? Because I can teach you how to cut hair.
Yeah.
But I can't necessarily. I can help you along with customer service skills.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have to care about the person that's sitting in your chair.
Right.
And in order to be an effective customer service representative, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's very tangible in your field.
Yeah,
you
for
talk
sure.
to people every day.
Every
right?
day.
Every day you're interacting
Yeah.
with the community.
Yeah.
And tangibly you have to be able to communicate and decipher stories that are being told to you and handle situations and navigate through those. So
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
that's-
I mean, there's some statistic out there, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but the millions of interactions that police officers have, like over the course of a year, and it's usually used in the context of use of force, right? So it says like, okay, so let's just say I'm making this number up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's just say in the course of a year, Claremont police officers use force 50 times in the course of a year, right? Well, if you looked at the number of times that we have interactions with people over the course of the year, that is literally going to be like a fraction of a percent of the number of interactions that we have that
Right.
ultimately end up in force having to be applied
Right.
in a certain situation. It's so rare.
Oh yeah.
But what happens, obviously, as you well know,
Yeah.
is like those are the situations that get attention.
Right.
It's not the situation when, I'm walking to Studio 41 to do an interview.
Right.
Yeah, and I stop and engage with somebody on the side of the road on the way here because of this or that. You know what I mean?
Certainly.
It's the ones that go bad that we all hear about.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult job in the environment that we have now with internet. Everybody's got a telephone.
Everybody's
and
everybody's an expert too.
everybody's an expert.
Yeah.
Right. You have access to information at your fingertips.
Sure.
And so it's I can't imagine. Right.
It's different. You just have, but again, like you just have to know that that's the game in which you play, right? And if you don't want to play in the game, then just stop playing the game.
Certainly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that I started my career in 2004. And like social media wasn't a thing. Maybe MySpace was. I don't know. I never had MySpace. I don't think I got on Facebook until like 2010, maybe. And I think I was probably a late bloomer for Facebook. But like, certainly this like camera in your face thing, all that stuff, that didn't exist in 2004. Body cameras didn't exist.
2010, we had little Nokias. You maybe got 1 megapixel.
Yeah, there you go.
photograph,
Right.
Like-
Yeah. My first cell phone was a Nokia, and I put Snake on it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like it's a different game. And then,
Certainly.
if you have police officers who've been on the job for, let's say, 25 or 30 years, starting in the late 90s, pre 9/11, like, man, it's just a different world. And you can complain about it and cry about it all day long, but that's the world you live in.
Right.
And so either you assimilate to it and push back where you can, or get out and go find something else to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. For sure.
So,
Yeah.
like,
for
I mean,
sure.
somebody comes in here and like they have a bad experience with you. They put bad reviews on Yelp, and they put, they go on Facebook and they just blow you up all over Facebook. Like, that's the world in which you live.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have been a cranky barber 15 years ago, and somebody could have left and been ticked off, and they don't come back, and that's the end of it, right?
Well, maybe they told 3 people.
Right.
They're 3 friends. They're
Right.
a little circle. Like, man, I went to that barber shop and he was mean to me. And,
Yeah.
those 3 people don't see it, but now people, before they come in here, they check and they're like, oh, is this guy good at what he does? Is this guy good at talking to people, right?
Yeah.
It's funny that the bad reviews that I have here, people haven't even walked through the door. It's usually on the phone.
And they never will.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing, right? Like, we'll get people that they'll hammer us on one thing or another, but then like when there's an opportunity to actually engage and ask questions and do this, like, it's rare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, come on, show up. You
Yeah.
know? And here's the thing, when we go back to that conversation about humility, right? Like, I don't think that we do everything right. I think that there are definitely areas where we can improve in all aspects, right? Whether it's customer service or, the way that we're focusing our efforts at certain times and in certain places, certainly. But I mean, part of that and the hallmark of community policing is that the community and the police department have to work together to reduce crime and to reduce the fear of crime,
Yeah.
right? So that requires some amount of like initiative on the community's part to inform us.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's
and not
that's
over
the
Facebook
give and take.
on What's
right?
Up Claremont.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah,
So,
yeah. You have to be willing to work together, right? Yeah, it is an interesting culture.
Yeah.
I think that we live in now,
Yeah.
where it's almost like I call the police to show up and solve my problem. And
Yeah,
it's like
that
you do
is
have to
100%
be willing
the
to
culture.
solve some of your problem,
Yeah,
right?
man.
Yeah, it is
Why
your
do you think
problem.
that is?
Why?
I'm curious.
Oh,
I want to see if you can give me
man.
what your idea is on why that happened.
I think
I have a theory.
you have a theory.
I do.
All right. Well, we'll listen to that. I think for me, I think we live in a culture where we're almost asked to blame and shed the responsibility on others. So as a culture, it's never my own fault.
Correct.
And I think that's a kind of the culture that we live in. You see it in other areas of life where it's like, it's not my fault that this happened to me, or it's not my fault that I'm in this situation, right? Whether it's, oh, I was just born in this situation and I can't change that, or somebody else ruined my life one way or another, and now I can't act beyond that, and so I'm woe is me sort of a mentality.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lack of responsibility.
100% it's a lack of responsibility. I agree with you. I'll just take that one step further. I do think that, like, to some degree, and I'm not blaming certain generations, but I think, like, let's just contrast generations, right? So you look at the generation, like the greatest generation, right? So people that are born in like 1920, right? These are the people that lived through the Great Depression. They lived through the Second World War. And they are known as the greatest generation. And they learn, like, nobody's coming to warm your milk for you.
Right.
Nobody's coming to save the day. They were abjectly poor most of the time,
right,
growing up, having to come up with these creative ways, and we kind of pick on them now. Reusing napkins, or like, use. I mean, if you talk to people, like even my own parents, right? If you talk, my parents' parents were greatest generation people, and they'll always tell you like very interesting little stories about how they pinched and saved and reused plastic bags and all this stuff. Our generation is not like that.
It's not.
We've had everything that we've ever wanted. Access to money has been readily available, and for the most part, like our parents, and I'm not speaking individually for Chance or Brent, but I'm just saying sort of globally, when we want something, you get it. Yeah. Period. Right. Yeah. And then your parents are always there, helicopter parents, like they're always there to save the day for you. If like you fall down and scrape your knee, they're there to wash it off for you. If you're getting bullied at school, they're the first person right there to save the day for you. And to some degree, is that wrong? No, it's not. I mean, but there's probably a happy medium. There's probably an overcorrection somewhere. So how does that play out over time? Well, I think as people get older, when you talk about the sense of responsibility, I think that there's this sense that somebody's always going to come and save the day for you, that you don't have to take care of things on your own. And as you become an adult, it's just easier. Like, oh, I'm having this problem with my neighbor. Instead of going over there and resolving the problem with my neighbor, and I'm not, there's some things that you shouldn't go resolve, right? Right. Certain things you should. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that slowly over time, we've kind of slid to this place where everybody's always looking to somebody else to solve their problem. Yeah. The easy way, the fast way, not like putting in the hard work over a long period of time to see the results that will actually stand the test of time.
Yeah. I think
that's my theory.
Those conversations, right, that never happen. We talked about that. Sort of the reviews are blasting on Facebook,
sure,
type of a thing, right? It's not, hey man, you wronged me. I'm not gonna come in and be like, hey man, you were really rude to me. Yeah. I'm never gonna have that conversation.
No.
With somebody. in the way that we live today, I'm probably going to go on Facebook and be like, man, that guy was rude to me and he was mean, and that'll be left. And so in the response, when I see somebody said that guy was rude to me, I'll be like, dang, was I rude to that guy? I don't feel like I was rude to that guy. And then I'd never have to have that conversation with him face to face of the accountability, like, hey, you were mean and I didn't like the way that you talked to me.
Yeah, I have two responses to that. First is, I think if you're being rude and somebody recognizes that, they should say in the moment, like, Chance, like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Why are you being rude to me?
Right.
A, or B, just like, and I try to always remember this in my job, but also in life, right? Like, you never know what somebody has going on.
Yeah.
You never have any idea, right? Like, so maybe you come to work today and you're cutting hair and you're trying to you're trying to put your best foot forward and you're trying to smile and you're trying to be talkative, but you're just not doing a good job selling it.
Sure.
Because earlier in the morning, you had to put your dog down. You had a flat tire on the way to work.
Yeah.
Like everything it was that, terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
Mm-hmm.
But you're trying. And like, as a customer, we don't know that.
Sure.
But as a police officer going to a call for service, like sometimes we know why it is that you're having a very bad day. That's the reason why we're there,
right?
Right. But sometimes you don't know, and like you never know when you're talking to somebody like what they have going on underneath the surface. You never know, and it's not always just the obvious stuff like you got a flat tire on the way to work. There's also a lot of stuff like buried deep inside someone's person, like you just don't know. So like, dude, extend an olive branch. You know what I mean? Instead of going on to Yelp and saying like, oh, Chance was a jerk today, when I went to get my hair cut, be like, think to yourself, yeah, maybe he was, but maybe there's a darn good reason why he was having an off day today, and why do I need to go make it worse?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It is hard to step outside of yourself.
Grace.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's the theme, man,
yeah,
right?
Back to it. Yeah. Yeah, it is very hard to step outside of yourself and think about the other person in the interaction, especially if you're being wronged.
Yeah.
I think that's a difficult thing to do as a person.
It's also easy, I think, when things are going well to be able to talk like this and to say these things and like sort of to conceptionally understand. But then, like, dude, when you're in the middle of it, man, like when
practice,
when you're in practice, and I say this, and I hope I'm not like oversharing, but I used to talk to people who were like, experiencing anxiety or depression, and like I would think like, oh, I'm wise, I know what to do. You need to engage with nature. You need to like drink more water and eat more healthy foods and exercise and blah 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 blah. Until a few years ago, I go through this period of time that was like, one of the lowest parts of my life, and I was like, just stuck. Like couldn't move, and I'm like, yeah, I know I should probably go outside. I should probably go running. I should probably eat better. I should like, whatever. Yeah, no, dude, I was like glued to the floor. I was like, I'm not going anywhere, right? So it's easy when you're like not in it,
right,
to say this, but then like when you're right in the fire, it's like,
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough when it's bearing down on you for sure.
Just close the shades, man. I'm taking another nap.
That's right. Yeah.
So anyway, what else is good?
What else is good?
Yeah,
man, it's a beautiful day outside.
Yeah, spring has sprung.
Yeah, spring I think is coming. We're in there. It's been warm, only below freezing a little bit at night. So
yeah, and it looks like starting Thursday we're off to the races.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Be outside, right?
Yeah.
Running outside, right?
I have been.
Good.
Yeah, I don't run inside ever.
Ever?
Never.
Even in the cold?
Nah.
You hate the cold?
Hate it. It's ironic, right? It's ironic, but it's the only, like, I hate cold weather.
Yeah.
But I actually tend to run quite well in cold weather. But I hate it. I hate it.
What's your training like? Like when you're training for a marathon?
Yeah, today or like a couple years ago?
I ran track. I'm a sprinter.
Okay.
I know 600 meters is nothing that I want to run past at all. If I have to train for a 400, then I'll run 600 meters. But I'm not a long distance guy. My brother loves running miles, and I hate it. I'll do it with him every once in a while.
So I'll tell you what I did like a couple years ago, and then I'll tell you where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Right. So a few years ago, 2022, I ran the Boston Marathon. I ran Houston in January, and then I ran Boston in April. I haven't run a marathon again since I started working back in Claremont, but hopefully that'll change sometime soon. But anyway, so in the lead up in the cycle before Boston that year, I did 10 weeks straight, over 100 miles a week. with my peak week being like 130 miles, I think, with 4 workouts that week. So I was running twice a day. I'd run probably 10 in the morning and then 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And then I ran 21 that Sunday. That was my peak week. So yeah, like 130 before the marathon. And then the marathon. And then so today though, I'm probably running half that. So 50 to 60 miles a week. I try to run hard once or twice a week, and a long run. Saturday, I ran 15 miles.
Okay.
So
yeah,
not nearly as much these days, but
right,
enough.
But you want to run another marathon? That's your
Yeah,
goal?
I mean, it's my thing.
Yeah. Are you gonna run the Sacramento Marathon?
So that's California International. I had actually registered for that that's December. It's the first Sunday in December. So I was registered for it in December of 22, but it's like I said, I had just gotten this job and it was way too much going on. I couldn't make it out there. I will probably run one this fall, close by here, and then maybe travel to something next winter.
Well, if you do go to run in December in Sacramento, you have to be careful. You have to bring a lot of cold weather gear. It gets almost 40 degrees.
40. No kidding. No kidding. 40. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I told you before we started filming, I was in Sacramento for 5 days this last week.
Yeah.
And the low was, I think it was like 39 or something like that.
Oh,
yeah, it was
chilly.
Yeah, it was bad. It was
I'm going to be in Florida on
80,
Thursday,
it
man.
was beautiful. Yeah, the sun was shining everywhere.
Yeah.
I got a little sunburn
Look
on my
at you.
arm. I'm feeling tan.
So burned, I can almost not see the tattoo.
Oh, yeah, you got to be careful. The sun was on this side. So.
Yeah. Do you like it out there?
I do like it out there, yeah. I think it's one of those things where what I miss about California is the relationships that I had. I don't specifically miss the place.
Yeah.
Being back, like it's familiar, all of the places that I've been, living there for 25 years. But what I miss, like now that I'm home, is the relationships of the friends that I had there.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Bring them back out here.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
And how's that working?
I've been trying to get them. Like, hey, you know what you need to do? Just uproot your whole family, everything that you have, and just come drop it next to me so that we can hang out again.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not a great pitch, but it'll work eventually.
So I got a hard-hitting question for you.
Sure.
How long you been running that mustache?
I finally got it in about like 2 months ago.
All right.
I've been trying really hard for like 18 years.
Really?
10 to 15 years. Yeah, I've been trying.
So when we go off the air, I'll show you my best mustache I have. I would run a mustache every day if I could, but I get a lot of shade thrown at me when I'm running a mustache.
My dad was a police officer.
Yeah. Really?
And yeah.
And why don't we lead with that, Chance? Come on.
Well, my dad was a police officer, and a photograph that I always remember. He's got a mustache. He was well, he did a lot of things, but at one point he was a narcotics detective, and he had the mustache.
We're like 50 minutes into this interview, and you're just now telling me that you and I have that in common, right?
The long hair, it was all braided back, and the mustache, and I was like, I need the mustache and the braids. Yeah. So when I was 18, I got the braids and no mustache. Now I have the mustache, and I can't grow the hair out. Every time I try to grow the hair out, it bothers me. So. Really?
I like the mustache though.
The
you wear it well.
Hopefully.
Is it there to stay?
Oh, it's sticking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Till I slip. I line myself up with the mustache and
line yourself up. Is this like barber talk?
Yeah. So the barber, you got to get it lined up with the trimmer. So it's looking...
Yeah, I don't do any lining up.
I have to, or else it disappears.
Boom, man.
It disappears. Yeah. You shave with a razor? You use a straight razor? What kind of razor do you use? Use an electric
Gillette
razor?
Mach 3.
Oh, I use a Gillette Mach 3 at home.
Yeah, or Mach 4 or whatever. I don't know what it is.
Well,
what Mach it
blades
is.
It has.
Yeah. 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know.
Well, the interesting thing about that is
here we go.
Closer shave, right?
Yeah.
So each blade pulls the hair out a little further.
Yeah.
So if you have like irritation,
which I do.
Yeah, if you have irritation, you should use less blades.
Really?
Yeah. Because then it cuts the hair less close to or less under the skin.
But I feel like, and see, these are my feelings.
Mhm.
So my feelings are always right because
Yeah.
it's just the way I feel.
Certainly.
So if I say if I leave with I feel like, whatever I say after that is correct,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Right,
Yeah,
like-
I can't argue with
Like
it at
I
all.
feel like your mustache looks amazing. Right?
Well, thank you.
So I feel like if the fewer razor blades that you have on the actual unit,
Mhm.
the cheaper it is. So, like, if you buy that one plastic Bic
Mm.
thing that's like, 98 cents for 9 of them at the grocery store,
Mhm.
I'm going to bleed everywhere. But like if I get one of those Gillette Mach 4 or
Yeah.
whatever,
They're comfortable.
yeah, more comfortable.
More comfortable.
Yeah.
That
It's
might
a
be
better
true.
shaving experience.
Well, that honestly, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is what matters.
And I would rather have a positive shaving experience every other day than just this brutal bloodbath every morning.
You don't want the bloodbath.
No.
You should try straight razor then, because then you can buy nice blades for cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
Or come in here and pay you to shave my neck and then
You could do that.
do a
as
Yelp
well.
review.
You could do that as
And
well.
if you're grumpy, I just won't post it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I'll assume you got something going on deeper, right?
Yeah, you got to think about it before.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
So was your dad on the job your whole life?
no. My dad he was a police officer until I was 15, I think, and then he became a pastor.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he changed gears, but he got hurt on the job.
He did.
Yeah, twice.
Okay. Twice.
Yeah, so once when he was a narcotics detective,
Yeah.
fleeing suspect,
Yeah.
got him with a car,
Oh boy.
and then he went back and for a while he was running traffic as a motor officer,
Yeah.
and he crashed his motorcycle, turning,
Dang.
slid out, hurt his back,
Oh.
and then he got medically retired.
Is he still a pastor?
Yeah, he's still a pastor. Yeah,
Wow.
he lives in South Dakota now.
Really?
Yeah, a little flyover state.
You been there?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, South
Like it?
Dakota. Yeah, I think
Black Hills?
all of that region is beautiful. It's cold and windy,
Oh my
But,
goodness, is it cold and windy?
but
Yeah.
it's beautiful to look
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
You gotta go there during the right
Have you
time.
spent like a significant amount of time there?
Not in South Dakota. When I was younger, my dad bought property in Wyoming because he wanted to move there, and so
Yeah.
he and I went on a couple of hunting trips out there and camping trips.
Really?
So I've spent some.
What
time
did you
out there.
hunt?
Antelope.
Antelope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Up
was-
high, elevation wise?
It is high.
Yeah.
We weren't in the mountains specifically. We were a little bit outside of Wheatland.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 12, I think, when we went out there. The
Bow
last
hunting
time.
or gun hunting?
Rifle hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you kill anything?
I didn't. He did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you have to drag it?
Yeah.
That's the worst
Yeah,
part,
well,
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
You didn't get to kill it. You had to drag it. Did you get to eat it at
Yeah.
least?
Oh yeah.
All right.
That was delicious. I want to go out there. I've been trying to make it out there to go hunting with him.
Do you still hunt?
I don't. Not recently.
I
used to
have a
waterfowl hunt.
strange feeling though. If you went hunting, you'd kill something every time out because of
You-
the mustache.
You know,
It gives you power.
You know, it's funny. There was a fox that was after my chickens, and I
Okay.
get made fun of because I missed.
You-
I tried to shoot the fox.
And you kill the chicken.
No, I missed. I hit the tree next to the fox
When was this?
a couple months back
Before the mustache was in?
before it was in dark.
All right. So you hit that fox just like that now. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I get made fun of a lot for that.
For missing the fox?
Oh yeah. All my clients know. I make fun of myself for it.
Yeah.
honestly.
Self-deprecating humor. It's the best kind of
have
humor there
to.
is,
You
right?
have to.
Any good comedian knows. Like if
Yeah.
you lead with that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you take all the wind out of all your haters' sails,
That's
right?
Yeah, they can't say anything after that. But yeah, it is a funny story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a shooting competition. I shoot handgun a little bit with
Do you?
my brothers. I had a shooting competition with my brothers, and I don't want to say I embarrassed them, but he embarrassed himself, and then he was like, "Well, let's get the rifle out when the fox is around," and I was like,
Do you regularly carry a pistol with you?
"Yes, every day."
You do?
Yeah.
What do you carry?
VP9 subcompact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good gun. I like
Yeah.
it.
How often do you shoot?
I shoot at least every other week.
Where do you go?
I have a range at my house.
Wow. See, we've flipped the script again here. I'm gonna ask him a question.
Yeah. Well, I have a range at my house, so I train. I'm a big proponent. If you're going to carry, you be proficient with it.
As am I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not just proficient with like the steel, but also like know what the laws are,
Yeah.
know where you can and can't have it, and
Absolutely.
most places it's free, free now. You can go into places carrying a concealed pistol, and in New Hampshire we don't have a concealed carry law. You don't have to have a permit to carry concealed anymore in New Hampshire. We do encourage it because it's reciprocal, but we always tell people, like, it's good to get it, the permit, and it's good to know, obviously, the RSA's surrounding use of force, so that you don't overextend yourself and put yourself into a situation that could get you in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
it's very important to know those things. It is definitely very important. When I was younger, my father and I mean, obviously he grew up police officer, so he taught me a lot, but we used to go to extracurricular trainings. Yeah. And there was a 4-day defensive handgun training that we used to do at a training facility called Front Sight. It was in Pahrump, Nevada, which is right outside of Las Vegas. And that was they spent a whole day on that, and then they said, we strongly suggest that you write everything that you've learned down in a letter and fold it up and put it in a place that you can review all the time. Really? I thought that was really interesting. Yeah.
Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas.
I've been to Pahrump. I haven't been to Vegas.
Yeah. Do you like to gamble?
No.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm not a gambler.
Yeah. Okay. Do you like playing cards at all?
I've enjoyed playing Texas Hold'em, but I'm not really a gambler.
What about like blackjack?
I'm not good at blackjack. Man. I had a friend that was really good at blackjack. Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah, I had a friend that was good at blackjack. I used to go to the casino.
I mean, good at blackjack. Like, what the casino has, what, a 1% odd, but 1 or 2% odds on blackjack. But if you know how to count and can tell when the deck is rich or not. But yeah, I like blackjack, man. Yeah. Particularly if you get on a good table with a bunch of cool people. And the table's rowdy. Even if you're losing, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I don't spend too much time in the casino. No? A couple of times I've been, yeah.
Do you go to concerts?
I've been to a couple concerts before.
What's your concert of choice?
My concert of choice?
Yeah. Like if you could see anybody?
If I could see anybody now?
Yeah, right now.
Right now? I've heard that Lil Wayne is good, a really good performance.
You like hip hop, huh?
Yeah, I like a little hip hop. Yeah. So
I've seen Pitbull twice.
You've seen Pitbull twice?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I would want to go to an E40 or a Too Short concert.
E40, yeah.
Okay,
right.
You know E40.
Yeah, of course, dude. I got some on my playlist.
There's people that I talk to all the time. I guess it's mostly kids, but I'm like, oh man, who do you listen to? E40, Too Short, Mac Dre, and they're like, I don't know who any of those people are. And I was like, I don't blame you.
What do you play in here? Do you play hip hop in here?
Yeah, we try to keep it appropriate when we can.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, a lot of R&B and hip hop. It is a salon. I'm a barber in the back corner, but it is a salon.
In the back corner? That's you over there.
Yeah,
okay, all right, roger that.
Yeah. And they stuck me in the corner.
So are you always hip hop, or do you have like different genres depending on what you're doing?
Me personally,
yeah.
I'm mostly hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah, I
always been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, see, I'll listen in that regard.
I'll listen to R&B as well. So like I like older school R&B and stuff like that. Like I like Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Those kinds.
Sure.
And the classical that you were listening earlier.
I like classical.
I listen to a lot.
I listen to piano music when I'm sitting at my desk.
Yeah. It's good. I think it's good for your brain.
Definitely, it opens it up. It makes you a better thinker.
Yeah.
But like I last summer went to 2 different country concerts. You're probably not a country music fan.
I'm not specifically.
Yeah.
No.
I like country music, particularly at home. When like you're just doing like chores around the house, like country music in the background. Love it. And the energy of a country music concert, it's like nothing I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. So I saw Jordan Davis and Luke Bryan last summer. Awesome. Both of them. And then, but I like hip hop, man. I like loud music. Like Disturbed would be one of my favorite bands. Like if I could go see a Disturbed concert, I would.
You're versatile, man.
You
like a lot. I've been to a Luke Bryan concert. Actually.
You have?
Yeah.
Where?
Here in Bank of New Hampshire.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's where I saw him this summer.
Yeah, my
last summer.
Mother-in-law's like friends with his wife or something like that.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so
Your mother-in-law is friends with Luke Bryan's wife.
Yeah, Caroline.
And we're on a first name basis.
I met her once, so
what a good human being Luke Bryan is.
Yeah. Oh man, he's great.
Have you seen the series about him? I think it's
no,
on. I don't know if it's on Prime or Netflix, there's a show about him. So, his brother died and his sister died,
Oh yeah.
and he and his wife adopted his
Yes.
nieces.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah.
Dude, super, super like human being.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
at the end of the day.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him. He's funny.
Big
He's tall.
energy.
He's tall.
Yeah, definitely,
yeah.
definitely rocking the dad bod as he's getting a little bit older.
Well, you
Just
can
send it,
you
right?
Can do that.
Yeah,
you can do
you're
that.
a gazillionaire.
Yeah, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No judgment.
He was really nice when I met him. High energy is right.
Very high energy.
High energy is right.
I like that though, because I'm
Yeah,
high
it was
energy.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
You know what? I actually missed. I was supposed to see Lincoln Park in Manchester. This was obviously, probably 10, 11 years ago now. And Chester broke his ankle and then passed away like a year later. So I missed out on Lincoln Park because they were one of my favorite bands for a long time.
Yeah, Lincoln Park's good. I used to listen to some Lincoln Park.
Yeah. Well, they kind of like went your way a little bit.
Yeah, they came over to my side.
Yeah, they kind of went from like a little bit harder rock to like a little bit of hip hop
stuff.
They
dropped some cool stuff for sure. Yeah. Music's a good thing. I mean, I'm always listening to it.
Same.
It's quiet in here if you don't.
I'm sure.
And really, they have to drown me out because all I do is talk back there, and the stylists, they don't want to hear all the stuff that I talk about.
They get irritated with you?
Irritated? Yeah, I talk. I like asking people questions that get them talking. So.
Do you like talk to like the other clients that are in here? Like, they have a lady getting a perm, and
I
you're
bother
like
everybody's clients.
Do you?
Oh yeah. They all get the treatment when they come in. Yeah,
See, what you should try to do is like get everybody else's clients to tip you because they had such a good experience, not to tip their stylist, right?
No, they gotta tip their stylist. That's important.
That's the rule.
Yeah, that's important. You gotta take care of your stylist. Yeah, I think I don't know. I bother everybody. I recently we've been doing the states and capitals in here. So
really?
Yeah.
Can you do them all?
I can do all of them.
You cannot.
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
I bother people about that because then about halfway through they're like, "Why do you know this?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe you should know this."
Because I'm educated.
You should know this.
Yeah. So if you had a map of the U.S. without could you write every state and capital on just a blank map? Yeah. Could you name all 47 presidents?
No, not yet.
You working at it?
That's the next one. So I've been studying because I know most of them, but I don't know all of them. Okay. So there's some ones that I forget, and then the order gets hazy.
Yeah. So where do you kind of break down?
4. Yeah. Like there's
John Quincy Adams. I think it's 4.
Yeah. It's funny. So I've been asking people who the second president was, and I mean it's appalling how many people don't know that, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, and a couple of people they'll be like, "Oh, that's John Quincy Adams." And like, no, that's number 4. Who's number 2? And they're like, "Oh, I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, just drop the Quincy, and you'll be all right."
And number 3?
Number 3 is Thomas Jefferson.
And number 5?
No. Who is it?
Had to
ask. James Madison.
Yeah, and then Monroe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Madison saw us through the War of 1812.
Yes. Yeah. That's right.
Which was actually kind of started during Jefferson's. But it wasn't started, but the impetus for it.
But that was when the blockade started, right?
Yeah.
Started, yeah.
Dude, I'm impressed.
Even
when we're not doing a podcast, I'm going to come back here and just
shoot
the breeze with you.
You're always welcome. That's the thing.
There's not many people in my life that like to talk about like history like that. So
No,
when I find them,
I love it.
I love
it. I love it. Yeah. I try to get people. I tell everybody, just come in. You're like, when you're walking past, I hate when people say, "Oh, I walked past your shop and saw you in there." Like, just walk in the door and say hello, please. For me, just say hi. That way I can bother you. You can get stuck in here for another 20-minute conversation.
There you go.
That's probably why they don't come in.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But yeah, well, it's been great talking to you.
Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah,
it's been wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely.